Students, in our last class we have discussed about the sun and the solar system, and we came to know that sun is also a star, and sun is the only source of heat energy. Now let us discuss today about planets. So as I told you that there are 8 planets, and in the solar system we find there are 8 planets and sun is also there, and the 8 planets, these 8 planets are part of our solar system, and that all the planets they move around the sun. That in our last class we discussed. All the planets, while they move around the sun, they have their own path, that means own road. Only that road they use. They never go that side or this side. They have their fixed path, that means the road, and it is elliptical. That means it is not round. That means their road is like this only. And the planet, suppose it is Earth, suppose it is Earth, and it has its own path, and it is called revolution when it moves around the sun. So here sun is there, and the planet Earth and the other planets, they move around the sun. It is called revolution. What it is called? Revolution. The path, this is the path. So this path is called orbit. It is called orbit. That means the road which the star follows, which the planet follows. It is called orbit. So every planets follow their own orbit. The planets and their moons also spin around an imaginary line called axis. So they also spin. That means they not only move around the sun, this Earth and the other planets, they also move on their axis. Suppose this is Earth and it has one axis. It is called axis, and here also it moves. So on that axis the Earth moves and revolve. That means moving around the sun also. So two ways they move. That means the planets move. One is spinning on their axis and revolving in their own orbit. So two things are there: revolution and spinning. That means rotation. Okay, and we have seen in our book's picture that Mercury is the closest planet to the sun, and Neptune is the farthest. That means Neptune is very, suppose here they have their own orbit. So all the planets they move, and the close one is Mercury. And you see in your book that Neptune is the last one. Correct? And we know that sun gives us heat. If we are very close to the sun, that means we would get the more heat. And here Mercury is very closest to the sun. That means Mercury gets the more heat, and Neptune, as we go far from the sun, that means the planet which gets very less heat. So here Neptune is the coldest planet, we can say, and Mercury is the very hottest planet. That means very closest. and it is the hottest planet. Now, if we group these planets, there are two simple ways are there. If we see by composition, that means what things made up of these planets, that way also we can group, and by their size, here you can see the sizes are not same. That means the size of every planet is different from another planets. So if we see the size, we can also compare, and if we see the composition, that means what things made up of, so we can group. So if we see the composition, so there are rocky planets. So some planets are called rocky planets. Why these planets and which are the planets? So there are 4 planets. One is Mercury, then Venus, Earth and Mars. These 4 planets are called rocky planets because they are made up of rocks, and metal things are also there. So that is why they are called rocky planets. They are very heavy and move very slowly. So these 4 planets move around the sun very slowly. Why? Because they are heavy, and heavy things cannot move fast. Okay, and they have few moons. So from Earth also we can see moon. Other planets also they have moons. So they have few moons and do not have gaseous ring, and these 4 planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars, they do not have any rings around them. Clear? Now gaseous planets are also there. That means Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune. These 4 planets are called gaseous planets. Why? Because they are made up of gases. Okay, and because of these gases, they can focus. That means the light also we can see because of these gases, and it is like a big air balloon. Air balloon you have seen. If we put some air inside the balloon and if we throw it, then we see that it is moving in the space. So same only the gaseous planets, it is also made up of gases, and these planets move very quickly because they are very lighter. They are not heavy like rocky planets like Earth and Mars and Mercury, Venus. So they move very fast, and they have many moons, not only one moon. The Earth has only one moon, but other planets have many moons. And rings also there. That means around these planets we find rings also, and the rings are looking very beautiful. You can see the picture of planet, you can see here Saturn. So it has rings around it, and it looks very beautiful. Now these 2 things we have discussed. That means the composition. By composition we have grouped them. Now if we see the size, Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars, these planets are small in size. So their size is very small, and they are also called lesser planets because they are very less, very small. So that is why they are called lesser planets. Mercury is the smallest. So out of these 4, Mercury planet is the smallest planet. You can see the picture of Mercury, it is very small. So it is the smallest planet. And giant planets, that means the giant means very big. So giant planets, that means Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune, these are called giant planets. These are large in size, so they are very large and also known as gas giants. So they are also known as gas giants. And Jupiter is the largest. That means out of these four, Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system. So not only out of these four, out of 8 planets, Jupiter is the largest one. In the solar system, 8 planets. So we find Jupiter is the largest one. Now, I have told you that Earth has a moon. So let us discuss about Earth's moon. Some planets have one or many smaller companions. So we can say these are the companions. They are very close to the planets and they are the companion. That means they also move around the planets. And these are called satellites. This moon is also called satellite. It has given the name moon. But the other planets, moons are there, but because these are satellites and we call it moon, so that is why other planets also we are calling it moon, but names are not given. Okay, so Earth has only one natural satellite, it is the moon. So these natural satellites move around the planet. So they move around the planets only, not the sun. They move around the planets. That means if our Earth is moving, they are also moving and moving around the Earth also. Okay. So just like planets only, they also move around the sun. That means we are moving around the sun. So this moon is also moving around the sun. So our planet has only one satellite and it is called the moon. And moon is also a heavenly body. Heavenly body means what? It is hanging only. Nothing is there. It is in the space. So that is why they are called heavenly bodies. These stars, moons, planets, these all are heavenly bodies. So it is also a heavenly body and that orbits around the Earth. That means it has its own road or own path. It is the orbit and it moves around the Earth and it takes 28 days to complete one revolution around the Earth. Correct? 28 days. And moon is the 5th largest satellite in the solar system. So in the solar system, many planets have moons and our moon, that means the Earth's moon, is the 5th largest in the solar system. That means the satellite is the Earth's moon is the 5th largest satellite in the solar system. And it also spins. It also spins on its axis like Earth only. So it also spins and it also revolves around the Earth. And it can be seen clearly only at night. That moon, if we want to see in the night sky only, we have to see, then only we can see it very clearly. It does not have any light. This moon, though we see it very clearly, but it has no light. But it is visible because of the light of the sun. When the light of the sun it falls on that moon, we see the moon. That time only we can see the moon. The Earth is not the only planet with a satellite. So as I told you that not only Earth has moon, other planets also have moons, and Jupiter has the most number of satellites. That means this moon, Jupiter has many moons, not only one moon. Only Earth has one moon. Now as I told you that stars and constellations are also there in the universe. Now stars, we come to know that yes, these are very small, but actually these are not small, these are very huge. Because of the distance from the Earth is too far, that is why we see them very small, very tiny. and these are made up of gases. These stars are nothing but gases and produce heat and light. So they also produce heat and light also, but we cannot, that means the heat of the light cannot we feel, because they are very far. That light cannot completely reach us. And this light and ultraviolet rays are also there. Okay, so these rays are, we will discuss afterward. These ultraviolet rays, these are very bad for our skin, so it produces ultraviolet rays also. There are billions of stars, that means crores of stars are there in the universe. Our sun is one of them, and our sun is also a star, as I told you, but it is closer to us. That is why we can get the heat of the light, that sun. The brightness of a star depends on how much energy it emits. That means how much energy it can produce. On the basis of that energy, the brightness we can see. That means we can see in the night sky which stars are very bright. The colors are very bright colors because of the energy, how much it can produce. The bright star we see in the sky is the pole star. So one star is there, it is called the pole star, and this pole star is the brightest star. Stars appear to have different colors. So sometimes we see that some stars are blue in color, sometimes it is orange in color. Why? Because of that energy. As I told you, the stars which have more energy, they can produce more light, and the stars which are more hot, they are white or blue in colors. So sometimes white stars also we see. So these stars are very hot and they can produce more heat. And the cooler stars are orange or red color. So sometimes we see orange and red color also. These orange and red color stars, that means they have less energy or less heat. Now constellations. Constellations means these are the collection of bright stars. So these bright stars, as I told you, these bright stars, collection of some stars, that means 7, 8, 9 stars. So some collection of bright stars are called constellations, and they are also visible in the night sky. In the night sky only we can see this constellation. And people, ancient people, the earlier people, what they used to do, they used to make some pattern of these 7 or 8 stars, and these patterns they use for their cultivation, harvesting, that means cutting the crops and keeping in one place. So they use for this purpose earlier. For example, here you can see Ursa Major. Ursa Major appears as a group of stars in the shape of a great bear. Now you can see Ursa Major in your book, page number 4, it is given that some stars are there, and people, what they recognize it as a bear. Okay, and another important constellation is a Saptarshi, and Saptarshi, it is in India. It is a group of 7 stars. 7 bright stars are there in that constellation. So I think this chapter is clear to you. You read the chapter, watch the video, then you will understand. And if you have any doubt, we can discuss it in our Zoom class. So let us conclude the class here. Thank you.